Well, good morning. Welcome to B Cube Sunday morning with Jim, David, and Sally. Sally is filling in for David right now, but she's napping on the bed.
That's Sally. I thought it was Charlie. All right, Sally. All right.
No, what did you say it was?
I thought it was Charlie.
Kelly? Well, I tell you what, I've never met the dog.
Answering, not answering. Well, it's probably not Charlie because Charlie pees on the floor. So Charlie's kind of old and weird. So, but yeah, but I have no idea which one. I can't keep a track of my own goddamn dogs, let alone David. So.
But you got some cool dogs. But speaking of keeping track, America is on track a little bit these days. Did you get a chance to see any of the convention?
Oh yeah, we watched. I think we watched pretty much every minute of it. My wife and I did. I tend to watch it on YouTube. My wife's a trooper. She can power through 8 hours of just watching that shit online. And after a while, no matter who's talking, whether it's people I like or people I don't like, there's a point where I just start to see white noise and I have to quit. So I tend to watch that sort of thing more on YouTube, where I can watch it in chunks, and then I can take notes and I can pay attention to what's going on. But yeah, we watched every minute of it. It was pretty astounding. So
I record it so I can fast forward.
Yeah, I usually have a recorder running too. Yeah, we've got a TiVo box or whatever the hell they're calling it nowadays. So.
Is it? Yeah. But I'll tell you what. Good morning, David. How you doing?
Nah, still nothing, man. I can't hear him.
I can't hear you either, David. So, no. Jim. Okay, this is where I look to you, Jim, and I'm gonna play Coach Walls. I'm gonna put you in. I need you to you got a good rant. Don't make me say that singer's name.
For God's sake, no. At least I will say this: at least the music at the Democratic National Convention was listenable. You know, and the Democrats always had better music than the Republicans. I can only we talked about here before we went live was. I swear to God, I hear that Lee Greenwood song, and I'm just way back that thing. My God, in 40 years, no one's come up with anything other than that goddamn Lee Greenwood song. For God's sake, man, they've been playing that thing since I went to boot camp 4 years ago. When I was in A school, when I was a junior troop here in Pensacola, as a matter of fact, I think you're live, Dave, because I heard you put your coffee or your can down, so I think you're good. But they were playing that goddamn song in the enlisted club, and every night the fucking Marines would hold their lighters up and tears would run down their face. I'm like, you guys been in the goddamn Marine Corps for 3 freaking months. I don't know, they'd all hold each other, sway back and forth. I hate that goddamn song. I hate that.
Well, maybe it doesn't take much to amuse a Marine. Can you hear me now?
Maybe. They're good guys. Can
you hear me now?
The best guys in the world to have in a fight.
Wait.
But, other than that, you need to put them in a box and put them somewhere.
We hear you.
Oh, but at least the DNC,
what I was saying,
had decent music, though. I guess Republicans are really upset that Beyonce didn't show up. So I guess they're big Beyonce fans or something. I don't know.
Well, but David, before Jim has a stroke, we're gonna. We need to know one thing from you. What's the dog's name?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's Charlie. That is Charlie, and he is, I think he's about 11 years old. We've lost track, and he's a very good listener. Charlie, do you like cookies? So you'll get your cookie after this, Charlie. So anyway, it's good to see you. I had the wrong microphone connected, so I got that fixed. So it's good to see you, Jim. I haven't seen you in a month.
Yeah.
Where are you off to? I hear you're driving somewhere.
Yeah, I got to go to Michigan, and so I'm going to take off. Normally, I would take off before before the sun comes up and get on the road. But I thought this might be a fun podcast. Thought we might have some stuff to talk about this week. So I figured I'd stick around and I'd leave after the
Listen,
podcast.
on the way back, if you want to drive through Vermont, you're more than welcome to visit here.
Yeah, Vermont. That's right between Michigan and Florida, right? Yeah, perfect. I thought
Think of it as
it's got to be cooler in Vermont than it is here, man. Wow, God, it's so miserable.
It is. The
Think of it
windows,
as-
the windows open. The air conditioner is off. We're having a beautiful day, a nice warm day, not too cool, not too hot, just about perfect. So, yeah, good weather. So,
Rub it in.
yeah, I actually, yeah, absolutely. I mean, how often do I get to brag? Oh, well, actually every day now, but that's okay. So, all right. So we've had a really good couple weeks, and I think we need to, instead of being grumpy today, we need to acknowledge that we have a good reason to be hopeful and optimistic. And it's not just that Harris and Walz are just two of the most perfect candidates I have ever seen the Democrats ever field. But it's also, I'm really enjoying the self-destruction of the orange shit gibbon, the convicted felon. He is, if somebody was determined to lose, he couldn't be doing more.
It's entertaining
It's
as
like
hell.
the guy
watching
has
it.
absolutely no awareness.
Right. You don't even have to listen to a live stream of Harris or Walz. All you have to do is just keep Truth Social open, and when all of a sudden there's a flurry of just a snowstorm of absolutely unhinged, batshit crazy, whatever the hell they call them over there, truths. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard. When you see that, did you see the one the other day where he yelled at all cast, "Is she talking about me?" Oh my God! Oh, they're gonna have to throw a net over this guy, man. Rodney Jackson's gonna have to.
Oh, we have a hello from Adam Troy Castro. Hey, Adam Troy, thank you for checking in, and I hope you're doing well. Clearly, you're doing well enough to get online, so it's good to hear from you.
I had to laugh.
Back to Truth Social. It's not just Truth Social; it's everywhere. You can always tell. It's like he blew up. What'd she say? He is really. I had an insight this morning. I want to share it. Is that a lot of this crap comes back to what we call the victim racket, and the victim racket is everything is about me, and the convicted felon is a perfect example of the victim racket gone cancerous, because anything that doesn't work to his benefit it's rigged, it's stolen, they're cheating, they're wrong, and meanwhile he's wonderful. Everything he does is right. I mean, you cannot see a better performance of insanity than I will not name him, the convicted felon is all I will call him. I'm not going to even give him that much recognition. He is just
I like
contempt.
orange shit, Gibbon. I enjoyed that comment. So.
Well, I will go down and do contempt once in a while. Actually, I do have to admit the contempt.
Well, I wrote about this yesterday, I think, online, and it is a culmination. I need to write a longer piece, but like I said, I this month has been horrible as far as time goes. But again, where these people are literally mad. They were literally mad that Democrats were happy at their convention, that people were joyous, and that they were filled with hope and optimism, and they were just seething. And this is not new for these people. This has existed since the first day that Obama showed up on the scene with hope and change. And my God, there was nothing that made these people angrier than that word hope. My God, how dare you have any hope? And it's true, because it comes from their miserable religion, this horrible, painful ideology of misery and damnation, and you'll get a reward later after you're dead. That's when we'll reward you. Right now, put money in a plate because everything's terrible, and misery and hate and just pessimism. Those put asses in seats. They put money in the plate. They elect people like Reagan, not terrible America. Oh, America's terrible. And they elect guys like Trump who tell you every day how terrible everything is all the time. That guy has never, unless he's talking about
I can't
deal,
I can't understand why anybody would campaign on we're a failed nation, we're a third world nation. And that is not inspiring. Somebody campaigns on we're going to build a better future for you campaign on we're going to build a better future for you and your kids. I'm there. You campaign on we're a failed nation. I look around. We are not a failed nation. People are friendly. We're doing well. Yeah, there are things we should be doing better, but that's not evidence we're failing. I mean, and I've traveled and a lot.
You can do better, but for the love of God, this nonsense of people that are driving. Goddamn, fucking Windows keeps trying to rearrange my desktop for me. Like, no, you don't want it that way. You want it like this. But I'm so tired of billionaires trying to decide how I want my social media feeds or how I want my goddamn interface. Anyway, it's this. I mean, literally, the absolute unfettered irony of people driving around in $80,000 brand new trucks, drinking an $8 latte, 1,000-calorie Five Guys cheeseburger in their lap, bitching about America being a failed state and how terrible. Oh my God, it's so terrible. This inflation's killing me. My God, dude.
Especially because we have at the moment the healthiest. We have the healthiest economy on the entire planet, and they're complaining we're a failed now, they don't know what a failed nation is. They have not traveled. Now I will tell you, I've been to China. I've been all over Europe. I've been to Canada. I've been to Australia. We could learn a lot from some of those other nations, but we're doing pretty damn good.
And Canada, those people are way too cheerful. There's got to be something in the water up there. I'm not sure what's going on in Canada. Those people are too cheerful. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you think they're cheerful? Drop a hockey puck. You'll see how cheerful they are.
That's right. Install plan. I'll see what happens. Say something bad about Tim Hortons. No, but it's funny though. It's just you go to. I lived in southern Spain for a number of years, about 3-4 years in southern Spain, and those people, man, they don't get excited about nothing. And every day they take a siesta at about noon. They sleep for a couple of hours, and then kids get up and go to class for a couple hours in the afternoon, and then everybody has dinner by 8 o'clock. I lived in a little tiny town in southern Spain, and people get up in the middle and walk around all from about 8 o'clock at night till about 1 in the morning, and they drink little coffees and beer and wine and sherry and have tapas, little food treat, and they all talk to each other, and nobody gets excited about anything, man. They did fascism a couple years ago, and they're done with that bullshit. Nowadays, everybody's just you can learn a lot from that lifestyle where everybody isn't going all the goddamn time, and it's amazing to me though how the people that profit from misery have convinced Americans to be miserable all the time. I'm like, I run into this guy down here, and he literally, again, $100,000 dually truck, giant tires, brand new, chrome stacks. Guy's bitching about how much gas costs. I'm like, dude, you're in a truck that in any other nation would be used to tow cargo or something. Of course, it's costing. You know what? I drive a Mini Cooper, and I don't drive I drive the top end Mini Cooper. You've ridden it, and shit. David's ridden in my car. I fill up once a month. It costs me $30. The hell are you talking about? And I drive more than anybody you've ever met in your life. For God's sake, the reason that it's costing you so much money is you. The problem, man. And a guy's towing a trailer with a boat on it. I mean, how bad can your life be? It's Wednesday, and you're not at work. You're in your $100,000 truck towing your $100,000 boat. I mean, how goddamn bad? You're not in Central Africa digging through a pile of trash looking for enough calories to make it through the fucking day. I mean, how bad can your life be? And they're angry though, but they're all mad. Oh, these Mexicans are coming here taking our jobs. Really? You were a what did you pick lettuce or was it fruit? What job were you doing that a Mexican came here and took your job? What was that? Oh, I'm sorry, Southern California. I'm sorry, I live in Florida. You're on the roof at 110 degrees putting on roofing, right? What job did you have that somebody took away from you? Because as far as I can tell, you collect an unemployment check.
Yeah, the paradox there is they believe that those lazy immigrants want to be on welfare while they're taking away your job.
Right. Exactly.
No. A lot of those, we're out of California, but a lot of those so-called lazy immigrants are out there working in the fields, picking your goddamn vegetables,
Exactly.
and for subsistence wages. And if they want to take a crap, they got to go to the little porta potty set up by the side of the road. It is not working conditions that some of these guys with the $80,000 trucks are going to want.
Well, and that's the thing, that's the part that cracks me up about these people, and I hear this shit all the time. Again, and I think you've heard me say this a couple of times. People talk about, the fact that Trump's on here and he's talking about communism, how much they hate communism. Harris, and we got Harris, we're going to have communism. Really about communism, huh? That's funny because everything that you buy is made in a communist country. The T-shirts that you're getting for $4 at Walmart, there's a reason why they cost $4. You don't like communism, but goddamn, you love that cheap ass communist labor. The reason communism still exists is because you keep sending them money. Everything that you own is made in fucking China. I mean, how much do you really hate communism? Do you hate communism enough to pay an American a living wage to make those T-shirts in a factory somewhere in Oklahoma? Guess you don't hate communism that much, do you? Right? And my God, communism wouldn't even exist without these people in America who claim that they hate communism. And that's the part that cracks me up.
What they've managed to do. Let me share this. What they've managed to do is conflate communism with socialism. And which is wrong, because communism is about the state owns everything. Socialism is it's like insurance. You pay a social insurance is socialism for profit. You pay a certain amount for insurance every year, and it goes into a large pool that covers the costs of somebody's house burns down, or they have a car accident, or the health problem. And they get paid out of it. That's what socialism is. Socialism is you contribute a certain amount and the entire community benefits. And but they're terrified. I hear this. I'm not going to pay for the school lunch. I don't have kids. Why should I pay for a school lunch? Right? It's like, dude, are you out of your mind? You want that kid to be hungry and angry all his life?
Well, that's
we live next.
Right, you live in
We live next door to a retired Army colonel and his wife when I was growing up. And he literally had the balls to say to my mom, why should I pay for school taxes? I don't have kids. And my mom, and this was out on the street, my dad was embarrassed, but we loved her. She ripped him up one side and down the other about, we've paid taxes to ship all that stuff that you've looted from other countries. We pay taxes to have it shipped all over the world, and we never complained about it. And we're only asking you to contribute to paying for the education so that the next generation will be smarter than you. Ooh, right. He never spoke to her again after that. My mom was good.
Why pay taxes for kids if you don't have any kids? Well, the answer to that is because do you really want to live in a country with a bunch of dumbass, uneducated kids? And you talk about
we already do. They're mostly in the red states.
Right. And you talk about like food and lunches, that kind of thing. Well, you know where kids go hungry? They go hungry in those communist countries. They shouldn't go hungry in a country like the United States of America. And if you have billions of dollars to buy invisible stealth fighters that don't have a mission and will probably never be used for anything, and you have billions and trillions of dollars to buy aircraft carriers for the Navy, and you have trillions of dollars to put in a silo in somewhere in goddamn Montana and North Dakota, if you have that kind of money, if you can afford nuclear bombs and nuclear carriers, if you can afford the things that end life, you can certainly afford the things that preserve it. Hungry kids don't build a better future. And all the things that they claim that they're proud about, when you ask these people, well, what is it about America? I mean, because you obviously don't like anything about America. You don't like people, and you don't like the idea that people can say whatever they want, and you don't like the idea that people can worship whatever God they want or not worship any God at all. You don't like the idea that people can marry who they love. You don't like the fact that people can identify however they feel. You don't like any of those things. You don't like the people of America. You don't like the goddamn geography of America because you want to dump your shit on the side of the road. You want to drill oil wells in the middle of national parks. You don't give a fuck if you kill all the damn animals off. So you obviously don't give a shit about the geography of America. So what is it about America that you actually do like? I mean, is it guns and bullets? What else is there? You know,
they love those little green papers with pictures of Ben Franklin on them. That's what they love.
What is it that you
know, I was reading the comments and I was listening to what you're saying. And it's like, the freedom to marry who you love, way back before marriage equality was the law of the land. I was trying to explain this on one of the online forums on CompuServe, and someone says, well, I love Raquel Welch, why can't I marry her? And the whole thing was such a joke to them that to actually talk about the freedom of two people, men and men, woman and woman, man and woman, you know, to actually form a contract to live together was a big joke to them. And that's because it was so far outside of their experience, not the marriage equality, but the fact that two people would love each other, that two people would care about each other, that two people would care. There's a core of selfishness, a victim racket that I mentioned before, that me attitude that is so pervasive that they cannot think outside of themselves to a loyalty to the community, let alone a loyalty to the nation or the planet.
Right, and you're absolutely correct. Yeah. And you see that not only there, but you see that writ large, I mean everything else. And you see that in the comments, in the responses to the happiness and the joy at the Democratic National Convention. You see these people that are absolutely living their happy. How dare you be happy? You know, and you know, of course, the big one, if you've been following me online, the big one, of course, is the conservative pundit hollering that joy is not a strategy. Well, first of all, you're wrong. It is.
It is in my house.
And second of all,
it is. Joy is definitely a strategy. It's not only a goal; it's a means to an end. It's like joy is what you know. It's like, you know. I have to empty the dog every morning. I do it joyously. I say, come on, Charlie, we'll go out. And we walk around the front yard, we walk around the backyard, and he gets to sniff. And if there's another dog walking by, he gets to bark. And we look at the lake and we have a joyous time. It's not an annoying errand. It's a joyous, everything in life can be, doing the dishes can be joyous. I don't have to do the dishes, but the kids have taken that away from me. But doing the dishes used to be joyous because it meant we were eating well. You know, it's like everything can be joyous if you look at it right.
Right. Tell me what the hell is wrong with a nation that's happy and people are satisfied. And the answer to that is what's wrong with that is it's not profitable. Hate, fear, pessimism, and misery sell newspapers, they sell products, they put politicians in office, and most fill up the pews of the local church and make the preacher man rich enough to buy multiple jet airplanes. That's what misery does for you. Hope and joy don't do that. Happy people don't have to go and hear about how they're going to get salvation someday after they're dead. And happy people don't, the biggest problem is that happy people don't show up to vote because everything's going great. It's fear and hate and misery and pessimism that gets people. And we've turned this into a miserable as a nation, as a people, into who the hell we are. And you have people that are literally angry, that are literally mad, like furious mad that anybody should be happy. And you see this, as I said, tell me tell me what kind of nation you rather live in, or what world would you rather live in, where people are happy and there's hope for the future and optimism to build a better future for everybody, or a nation where your leaders traffic in hate and fear and pessimism, and people literally were mad about that. I got hate mail by saying that online. How dare you be optimistic, and you know all the things that are going wrong in the world. Well, guess what, man, I spent most of my life in the military. Shit goes wrong all the time. How you face it is a measure of character.
You know,
And
let me point something out. Negativity is an enrolling emotion. I studied communication forensics, and we studied enrollment. That is how and we studied enrollment. And one of the things we discovered is it's easier to enroll people into fear and anger than it is to enroll them in joy. Fear and anger, it only takes one person to create anger. I mean, all I'd have to do is call you a name and you'd get angry at me, and I would have enrolled you into anger, right? So, but to enroll you into joy, I have to, yeah, I can't think of anything that would make you angry, but you just laugh at me. But so I'd enroll you into joy. The thing is, but to enroll people into joy, you have to validate their existence, their soul, their humanity, and that's a lot harder, especially if you are not in touch with your own humanity, your own soul, your own inner core of being. If you are not in touch with that, you can't validate anybody in anything except negativity. Say, I'm negative. I'm going to share my negative. Oh, good, you're negative now too. All right, good. Now we can be negative together, and let's be mad at them. Those people who are stealing our happiness from us. Well, if you really knew happiness, you wouldn't be enrolling in fear and anger.
Again, it's like the whole country is invested in road rage. I swear to God, And so I don't know how you look at people that are happy. Someone like at the Democratic National Convention where people were honestly happy. Because someone like, I mean, what's the biggest complaint against Kamala Harris? She laughs too much. I mean, that's your complaint. She's a cheerful, happy person who knows how to laugh. For crying out loud, man! But these people are they're so weird and they're so awkward. And weird is the perfect word for these people, because if you call somebody on the left weird, they embrace
weird
it. Right?
And creepy. Don't leave out creepy. Weird and creepy.
That's right. If you call somebody on the left weird, I mean, dude.
By the way, we have I want to point out there's a fellow named John Boudet who's been posting some absolutely brilliant comments on the. I've been reading the thing, and John, I know you're listening. I just want to really tell you, I really appreciate what you're posting. Thank you.
But I mean, you call somebody on the left weird, and we embrace it. Man. It's like I said to you. I mean, every convention you and I show up at. I mean, there's nothing but weirdos as far as you could see. They all have the best day. And because
I was considered the weird kid. Well, I was considered the weird kid, awkward, no social skills. I read science fiction. I read a lot of books. I didn't have a sense of humor. I didn't know how to tell jokes, all that stuff. But the thing is the realization is fitting in. Conformity is not a virtue. It's just being another cog in the machine. Being weird, being different is a good thing. People who are afraid of being weird are afraid of being non-conforming. They want to be cogs in the machine. They don't want to be, they don't want to be the nail that gets hammered down. They don't want to be the tree that gets the most wind. They do not want to stand out and be.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly it. And it's those of us that were the weird kid in school that didn't have a hell of a lot of friends. Those are the people that I think you maybe not always, but I think maybe you grow up healthier. You call me weird. Great. That's probably the nicest thing I've been called all week. That's great. I don't want to be the same as everybody else. But you call J.D. Vance weird, and he's incredibly self-conscious about it, and he's it's not. He wants to be like everybody else. He's got to be the same. I'm not weird. I am authentic human meat person. Or Jesus Christ. I mean, dude, you can't even order a fucking donut like a normal person. What the hell? Jesus. And
I got to ask a question, Jim.
What?
When you watched him ordering the donuts and talking to the people, he'd ask him a stupid or a question, how long you worked here? And then his response was always, okay, as if his validation was required.
Well,
That
it's exactly what
that you were allowed to be there working.
Well, exactly though. But see, it's exactly what David just said. It's the fact that he didn't care what your answer was, because to care what your answer is, he would have to see you as a person. And Vance wasn't at a donut shop because he's a dude that likes donuts and he wants to socialize and hang out with the lady behind the cool laughing lady behind the goddamn counter that makes the donuts. He doesn't give a fuck about her. She's not even a person. Might as well be a router. She's a voice on a microphone that he reaches up and hands something out the window to him. Those are not people. The reason he's so goddamn awkward is because he's for the same reason that Trump is. He doesn't give a shit about the people he's talking to. He's not invested in it. He doesn't care about your happiness or your misery. Doesn't give a shit either way. You don't rise to that level of awareness. You're nothing. You're down in the bottom. Put the money in a pot, a private jet, and golf all day. That's who you are. And again, I mean, you can have a government run by these people, and we have, or you can have a government run by people that are certainly flawed and have their own goddamn problems, but at least give a shit about making the world a better place. I mean, I will say that one of the things about the Democratic National Convention that I noticed, and I think other people noticed, but it kind of went by the wayside, assholes that were outside protesting. And look, I get it, man. You're outside, you're protesting. And I'm not talking about the conservatives that were protesting, because there weren't a whole lot of those. I'm talking about the liberals that were protesting, and they're mad about a war in a foreign country. Look, I get it. I get it, man. You're mad about this thing. But if it wasn't this thing, you'd be mad about something else. You'd be mad about the whales, or you'd be mad about the coal mining, or you'd be mad about the war over here. You'd be mad about the hungry kids over there. You're mad about something. I get it. You care about stuff. You want to make the world a better place. But they literally put crap in people's food. Now, how the hell does that that's terrorism, man. And you cross the line from being a political protester to being a fucking terrorist when you start monkeying with people's food. But the part I don't get is, yeah, you want the Democrats to be better. You want Harris to care about the things that you care about. But burning down the goddamn country and letting people like Trump take over, if you think that that's going to further your agenda, I don't know. But again, this isn't new. These aren't new people. This is the same nonsense that was going on in the 60s, where you had people that were opposed to the Vietnam War, so they were robbing banks and fucking killing people. There's a, again, so those are things that you have to balance out here. And the other side of this is that maybe we shouldn't pay too much attention to these people. I got in trouble here the other day. I had somebody turn me into some political, some expert on something, because what I said was, I don't understand why the press keeps talking about these undecided voters. Who the fuck is undecided at this point in time? I mean, we know who Trump is. I don't even need to know who the other people are. Okay, we know this is our Trump and incipient fascism or not. Those are your choices, right? And so the press keeps entertaining these people, undecided voters from, I don't know, wherever the hell they are, Missouri. How many of these goddamn people are there? Because I don't think there's enough to make a difference. And I think if you're undecided at this point, you're only doing it because people are kissing your ass and somebody keeps sticking a microphone in your face. And either you're really like that clown that was on CNN the other night, I'm undecided, and yet his entire social media feeds are nothing but Trump and MAGA. This guy decided he was voting for Trump in 2016. I'm undecided. Yeah, you're undecided long enough to get on national television, all right? Or you really are undecided, in which case, if you're undecided at this point, you're not going to vote anyway. I don't give a shit. But we keep making a deal like there's millions and millions of undecided voters, and they're going to decide the election. They're not. There's 5 of them in the whole country, maybe. All right, for God's sake, undecided voters? Are you shitting me? Go ahead. Oh, you're out. We lost you. Your mic's out.
We lose your voice.
Yeah, I can hear you, Bob. I can't hear David.
Uh-oh.
You lost your mic.
Oh man, don't make me say the singer's name again to get him going, because I tell you what though, while Dave's coming back, the whole concept.
All right, I got it.
Oh, hello.
There I go. All right. Yeah, it's like. By the way, that one undecided, he was a Republican plant. They did some backtracking on him.
There's no undecided. They've all decided.
Anyway, but the undecideds are swinging 9 out of 10 for Kamala, and the one is still stuck on Trump. But I forget what I was trying to say before, because you were doing such a great rant, Jim.
Sorry. I'm wound up doing. I drink a lot of coffee. I got to drive 1,000 miles today.
So there's the thing is we. By the way, I got to. Sorry, I know I'm sounding like Trump, totally disconnected. Looking at the comments that people are posting, some incredibly wise and smart things from just about everybody. And very, very astute analysis. I almost have to say nothing here. But what I have noticed is that Americans are responding not just to the joy that Kamala Harris is demonstrating and the joy that Tim Walz is demonstrating, but they are demonstrating the family values that we really want. The Republicans can't claim family values after nominating Trump. A man who's had, cheated on 3 wives already and wants to grab them by the pussy and so on. But true family values, here's a guy whose son stands up and goes, "That's my dad," and he's got tears running down his cheeks. I mean, Americans responded to that raw emotion. It's like, yeah. And the hugs and the laughter and the joy, that is so infectious. It is such a change. And as one of the people said in the comment thread, I haven't been this excited and optimistic about any candidate in years. Now, I was, as a teenager, I loved John F. Kennedy and I loved Bobby Kennedy. And I was so grateful when Obama ran, because I thought he was just the right guy at the right time. Clinton was a disappointment to me. I hoped he would be another Kennedy. He was more like another, I don't know. He made promises that he never kept. But Obama did his best to keep promises, and Joe Biden pushed him on the LGBTQ issues, and he came around. But now we have Kamala and Tim, and I have never felt this enthusiastic and this optimistic about any presidential race. And the thing that makes it even more enjoyable is watching Donald Trump go down in flames every day. It's a worse day for him than the one before. It's like, I mean, it's not enlightened. I'm not enlightened by enjoying someone else's downfall, but man, this guy so deserves it.
Some people just goddamn deserve it, and the thing about it is Trump could have been a decent human being at any point in the last 60 years. He could have been a decent guy. He could have been, but again, you're talking about, again, this mindset. You look at a famous Trump supporter, Elon Musk, right? This guy is the richest guy in the world. He owns a rocket ship company, an electric car company, a bunch of other stuff. This guy literally could have changed your perception of rich people. This guy could have been a hero. He was on the road to being created the future. And then all of a sudden one day he starts accusing a guy that's literally risking his life crawling through a hole in the ground to rescue children. He calls him a pedophile because that guy didn't want to use his submarine or some stupid shit. And then and he just goes off the goddamn rails.
Like,
and now that this guy's the king of the shit posters. I mean, my God, he went from a guy that literally could have changed. We would have built statues to this guy at 100 feet tall, and now he's a Bond villain, and not from like the good Daniel Craig Bond. I'm talking like, the Pierce Brosnan era Bond.
Goldfinger. He's Goldfinger.
Damn, man.
He's Goldfinger. All he wants is more gold.
I swear to God, dude, what happened to you? This is a guy that, this guy was always problematic. Don't get me wrong, but he could have done good in the world. This was
any of these billionaires. Any of these billionaires could be a gigantic hero. I mean, even, it's like you spend $100 million and you don't even feel it, but man, the difference you could make in the world. And I'll give you an example. You go to Hershey, Pennsylvania, and you see where a guy spent money on the living conditions of his workers. Now, I'm not sure Hershey was a great guy, but at least he knew to spend money on his workers. Henry Ford wanted his workers to make enough money so they could buy his cars.
Right.
Dale Carnegie built libraries. Now, we could talk about the sin of owning too much money, but if you do something good with it, even if it doesn't hurt your bottom line, you're still doing something good.
Right. Well, I mean, and again, and you could look. There's no doubt. I mean, Henry Ford was an anti-Semitic asshole who loved Adolf Hitler right up until the war started. And Carnegie, I mean, that guy was a robber baron from the ground. But at least they did some good. You know what I'm saying? And Musk has gone right off the goddamn deep end. It's like he's doing. Imagine, again, this guy spent
the nice thing about Musk is he's losing money on X.
Right. Well, the guy spent $44 billion. This guy spent $44 billion turning Twitter into an $8 billion company, which is, and it's. I mean, they're gonna be writing. They're gonna be teaching MBA courses about this guy for the next 1,000 years. But again, imagine if you had taken half of that, 20 billion instead of 44 billion, and used it to create sustainable systems that feed poor people in this country, or house homeless people, or do any of those things, or provide medical care to people, all that kind of stuff. I mean, Musk bought that as a vanity project so that he could blow his own horn and spend all day shit posting. And I don't know if he thought that was going to make him some kind of epic hero. I don't know. But imagine if he'd spent half of that feeding people. He'd be that hero. He'd be that guy that people. He would have changed the world for a better place. But I can already hear, don't fucking at me. I don't need to hear about socialism and ritual fucking feeding people and that kind of stuff. And again, I mean, this is my complaint about America. If we can afford 13 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers and $1.7 trillion worth of invisible fighter jets that don't have a mission, we could feed everybody in this country. We could make sure that everybody in this country had a place to live. We could make sure that every single human being in this country, whether they're a citizen or not, had health care for fraction of what on holes in the ground with nuclear bombs in them. I've been to war. I've been to places where the people in charge don't give a shit about the people on the ground, and you have half of this country. You have leaders in this country. You have people that are trying to become president of this country that have the same exact mindset as those shitheads running those places over there. It's the same greedy ass mindset. It's no saying. I don't know. This is the kind of stuff that when you see the joy in the Harris campaign and the sheer joy of Tim Walz's son in tears because of what was happening with his father, he was so proud of his dad, and the fact that half of this country looked at that and was. I mean, you saw Coulter said, "Holy shit, lady, what the fuck's wrong with you? What's wrong?" I mean, I'm looking at prominent Republicans. One prominent Republican, and I'm not gonna.
I don't think Ann Coulter has ever had an orgasm in her life. It's like,
my God,
because anybody who is.
Yeah.
I mean, if she had a decent bone in her body, the other bones would eat it.
That's right. Well, a decent bone in her body, we would be having this conversation. But again, she's not the only one because she was the first one, and the rest of these prominent Republicans jumped on her, and they all tried to say something even more horrible until we got down to the point where I'm literally watching social media and people are talking and they're using words that I'm not going to use to describe this kid. And what the fuck is wrong with you? This is a son who was proud of his father, and they were mad about that though because their children.
I will tell you. Let me share a story with you. They told me when I adopted Sean, and this was 32 years ago. They told me he was not capable of bonding. The week after he moved in with me, we were walking home from the local diner.
I laugh every time you tell me that story. Yeah. No, it's Sean. I laugh every time. Every time you say that, I have to laugh.
And the lady next door was fixing up her home to sell it. And here comes Sean and me, and he's only been with me a week. And she looks at us. She says, "Well, who's this?" And before I could say a word, Sean shouts, "He's my dad." And it's like I felt so proud in that moment because it's like, yeah, this is what it is to be a parent, to have such a relationship with this little human being who is in the process of becoming a bigger human being. And you take them as you have no control over who they're going to be. Your job is to just support them in being who they're going to be. And you just see the love the love that Gus displayed for his dad would not have been possible without the love that Tim displays for Gus. You just know that is a great family. That has got to freak out anybody who has missed out on that adventure.
Well, again, though, but these people have this. I mean, these are people that never tell their children that they love them. Never their children love them because they find that stuff feminine or emasculated or whatever. And I'm like, it's so bizarre to me. Really? How do you see that? My son is 30 or damn near 30. He's a father himself. I'm a grandfather. And every time I see my son, he tells me he loves me. That's awesome. I don't know what the hell to tell you. That's at that point, you've done your job as a father. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If nothing else happens to me in my life, that's plenty, man. That's great. That's the best part. Nothing is better than that, And you watch him with his son and my daughter-in-law they're amazing people. Isn't that the whole point? How the hell do we get to this point in America where half of this country thinks that showing love?
It's not just your children. It's being able to relate to everybody. It's being able to pet your dog. It's being able to connect with your wife or your husband. It's being able to connect with your mom or your sister or your dad or it's everybody. It's being able to connect to other people as living creatures capable of hurting, capable of just being alive. And this is what's wrong. This is what's wrong with the convicted felon is he doesn't recognize other people as people. He sees them as things to be used. I mean, he talks about the poorly educated or the ones that, thank you very much. He doesn't see people as people. He sees them as objects. And it's a lack of empathy. It is the mark of an intelligent, the mark of a rational human being is their ability to be empathic.
Right, a true statement, and again, I mean, all you have to do is look at this guy. I mean, you look at Harris, you look at Waltz, you look at how these people interact with their families, their children, and those around them, and then you look at how Donald Trump. I mean, tell me where Donald Trump's wife is. She won't even have anything to do with his ass. She's not on a campaign trail, and I'm not. Look, and again, a lot of people really don't like Melania Trump, and I understand why. I don't have anything against her. She's a mercenary. She set out goals. She picked a guy. She got the citizenship. She moved her family. She improved her station in life. She used what assets she had to do that. I mean, I don't have anything particularly against her. She's not a victim. She's a willing henchman, but I don't have anything particularly against her. But again, it's a business.
She's weird too. She look at her, and I think she's
don't
weird.
Get me wrong. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not. I don't in any way admire her. is I don't particularly what I mean by this though is if you look at the Trumps, it's a business relationship. It's a she's not there because she loves him and she supports him and she's going to have tears in her eyes when when he goes to prison or when he gets sworn in, whatever the hell happens. She's there because she's a mercenary and that was the objective and she achieved what she set out for. And now in that much I can admire somebody with that kind of affection there. And it's the same thing with Vance. You don't see Vance's children proud of their father, and there's a reason why they don't put him on television. There's a reason why when Donald Trump is on stage, cameras are on Donald Trump. They're not on on Eric or Don Jr. Well, they're not on Don Jr. because he's in the bathroom doing a couple of lines. But you've never seen them so joyful at the achievements of their family. What you see is them on Twitter saying horrible, nasty things about other people. Now, even when, like I said, even when they're tweeting in support of their dad, they're not saying, "No, I love my dad and he's the best and I can't believe what he achieved." They're attacking their dad's enemies. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. And again, you have to ask yourself, what kind of country do you want to live in? What kind of future do you want for your kids? You want some goddamn you want a world that looks like it was a George Miller movie? I mean, don't get me wrong, I thought Furiosa was a hell of a lot of fun, but I don't want to live on Fury Road, man. I don't want to live in a country where everybody is some fucking road warrior.
And to tell you, the rest of the world is okay. It's only Australia that's in trouble there.
Right. It was a great. My wife and I watched it the other night. I've been meaning to watch it for a while. It was a great. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's car chases and explosions and people that don't give much of a shit about each other. And and in that sense, it's very much a Mad Max movie. And the acting's great. I enjoyed the hell out of it. But again, I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live there. Okay, that's not. There's people look at that and like, man, I'd be the warrior of the wasteland. I tell the rock and roll. I'd be that guy. But I don't want to live there. I don't want to live in that place. I want a future where people give a shit about each other. I want a future where our leaders are optimistic. I want a future where my kid grows up happy. Someone I saw this morning here where they're talking about, the thing about Trump, the thing about RFK Jr. is they're willing to take a bullet for America. I'm like, well, first of all, that's a hell of a statement to make about a fucking Kennedy, but okay. But really, that's what you want? That's what you want? I don't want a future where we get leaders that are willing to take a bullet for America. I want leaders that stop the goddamn bullets so nobody has to take one.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I would. Let me say this. Sean I am so proud of Sean. That. Sean worries that his kids. He worries that the world is going to be worse for his kids, and he talks about the economy is because the rich have looted so much money out of the middle class that for people at his age to buy a house is almost impossible, and he's worried that it's going to get worse for his kids. But when you look at Kamala and Tim, there is the possibility that we can turn things around, that we can make a world that works for everyone. And we have to do it one step at a time. I was going to say before that the hard left bothers me a lot because they become single as well. What about the albino rhinoceroses in Tanzania? And so, fine, that's fine. Do you want you want to elect Trump? Keeps talking about the albino rhinoceroses in Tanzania. It's like, we're not interested in that. We're interested in one step at a time towards the ultimate goal, because that's the only way we're going to get there. You're not going to get a pony. Nobody gets a pony. The best we're going to get is a plow horse that move us, one step at a time. And they become so focused on their single issue that they forget that the larger context is keeping the movement forward. These are the people who destroyed Hubert Humphrey's campaign in Chicago in 1968. These are the people. I saw somebody do this in college when he ran for student body president. I have seen these hard left destroy the progress, the ability of Democrats to move forward over and over and over again because they didn't get their issue handled. Well, nobody gets a pony.
Right. Well, here's the thing, though. Yeah, you're mad that these folks, and they write to me all the time. I get probably more hate mail from the left than I do the right, and I don't know what that says about me. But the bottom line is that, yeah, albino rhinoceros. I get that. Me too. I'm a wildlife photographer. Hell, I'm wearing a goddamn shirt. You bet. But here's the thing. It's harder now, today, to achieve that goal, or peace in Palestine, if that's what your thing is, or any of those things that moving the world off in fossil fuels, all of that kind of stuff. It's a hell of a lot harder today to do that stuff because we went backwards about 30 years when you didn't show up and Donald Trump got into office and destroyed half the fucking infrastructure in the country and the progress that we've made. Now, not only do we have to do the things to get to those goals that are so important to you, and redo the shit that had already been done.
Yeah, I blame some of the Bernie or bust people for sabotaging Hillary Clinton. Bernie, once it became obvious to Bernie that he couldn't win the nomination, he needed to get his supporters on board with Hillary Clinton. He didn't do enough, and he did it too late.
Right, and again, it's water under the bridge now, and I don't want to go back and beat people up.
Yeah, I know.
Again, from that. And so now when I see people say, well, I don't, look, man, if you didn't learn from that, I'm not going to convince you, and I'm not going to waste my goddamn time arguing with you about it. All right. I mean, if you can't see where we are right now and what has to be done, then I don't know what the hell to tell you. If Biden was the candidate, I was voting for Biden. Yeah, I see it. And if Harris is the candidate, I'm voting for Harris. Now, frankly, I'm glad to see somebody younger and more dynamic. I was pretty pessimistic about the idea of Biden dropping off the ticket and being replaced with somebody else. I'm really glad to see that some of my pessimism about that was unwarranted, and that people are very excited about what's going on now, and they're optimistic about it. I think that's awesome, man. I think that's great. And I mean, goddamn, we're coming down to it. We got about 2 minutes left, and then I got to get in a car and get the hell out of here. But I'm going to say this: look, if you're undecided, if you need a side that doesn't fucking donuts, okay, and you got one side that is joy and optimism, and yeah, they don't have all the answers yet, but they think those answers are out there and they're willing to go in that direction, right? And then you got one side whose entire ideology is getting revenge on you.
Yeah. Bob has got his hand up. I think it's time for us to. You have to get to Michigan, and I have to empty the dog.
Okay, guys, give me just a second here. Thank you, Jim, and thank you, all of you people who came to watch today, because we've been through some hellacious technical difficulties over the past couple months, and we've finally got them resolved, as evidenced here that you're all here. So thank you. Now, and the audience, guys, you were joyful. You weren't whining. You weren't bitching. So thank you guys for taking it to heart. And now I got to give you one small commercial. Coming out in about a month from now, edited by KG Anderson, who is here with us today, listening. We have got Southern Truths, a new book coming out that features none other than Jim Wright, who's That's him, the moody guy that has nothing
I'm
to
joyful,
say.
man. I'm happy. I'm optimistic.
David Gerrold, there you can see him there. Adam Troy Castro, whom you guys have seen his comments coming in. And just remember, go buy Adam's book. And Adam, I'm so glad you came through this surgery good. And we're here with you. We're thinking about you, all of us. So that is good. So that said, I've got to let you go. So goodbye, David, and goodbye, Jim.
All right. See you. If I don't see you before next month, I'll see you then. All right. All right. I'm punching out. See you guys. I'll be on the road. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Drive safe. Have a good trip.
All righty. And David,
All right.
nice dog.
He's